We do not bulldoze the homes of vulnerable families like what took place at Clifton near Bernard Lodge. We do not evict long-standing occupiers of land with well-established homes built on them, as was attempted at Mount Pleasant near Loidas Vale. We would not take NHT funds to build houses costing between $29 and $38 million when there's such a dire shortage of affordable housing for young professionals and public sector workers. Mr. Speaker, with a focus on building houses that are affordable to the people, the next PNP administration will take a multi-pronged strategy to tackling the housing crisis. Our first strategy is a set of measures relating to the National Housing Trust. We will stop the annual extraction of the $11.4 billion from the NHT to fund the budget. Mr. Speaker, when this was originally conceived, it was written into the law as a 4-year fiscal measure in the hardest of times during a tough IMF program when our debt was spiraling out of control. It was never our intention that it would go beyond 2017. This government criticized it very trenchantly when they were in opposition. They even supported a lawsuit, which was ultimately unsuccessful, to challenge it. But then they turned around when they got into government and they have extended it for an additional 8 years since 2017, including once again in this budget for 2025-26. Mr. Speaker, we will end this annual extraction of resources from the NHT. And our plan is to recapitalize the NHT with lands to restore value for the $136.8 billion that has been taken from it to fund successive budgets over the last 12 years. We will also repurpose the NHT to have its focus on its core mandate of providing affordable houses to contributors. Using this recapitalization mechanism, we will exclude the cost of land from the price of houses built by the NHT over the next 5 years, passing through a reduction of between $2.5 and $3 million to contributors purchasing those homes. That is social and economic justice for the contributors whose institution has been depleted of resources to ease the final burden on the country. Teachers, nurses, police officers, and other public servants, young professionals, persons with disabilities, and indeed an individual contributing to the NHT will be able to afford their own home. Mr. Speaker, the People's National Party knows that public sector workers are hurting from the way in which the pay rationalization was done. So we have come up with 3 measures to show our appreciation for their service to the nation. Our second strategy is a special National Housing Trust package of benefits for public servants, young people, and low-wage earners. Firstly, public sector workers. They used to enjoy a preferred rate of interest on their NHT loans, but this government took it away. We will restore public sector workers access to a reduction in their NHT interest rates. Police, nurses, teachers, doctors, firefighters, indeed all public servants who are NHT borrowers will get back this benefit. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, we will give public sector workers a break when it comes to commencing their loan payments. Currently, when an NHT loan is disbursed, the borrower has to commence payments in the following month. We recognize that buying a home has a lot of other costs attached to it. We will therefore allow a public sector worker a 3-month moratorium period after disbursement of the loan before commencing any loan payments. And that will give them time to recover the expenses they've incurred, to buy some furniture, and to get their place ready to move in. And Mr. Speaker, we have one more goodie for our public sector workers. Currently, the debt service ratio, the DSR, required by the NHT is 33.3%. That means that the loan payments each month cannot exceed 33 1/3 of their gross salary. We are extending a preferred 40% debt service ratio to public sector workers for their NHT loans to allow them room to borrow a larger loan from the NHT to buy their home. Mr. Speaker, we recognize that often the hardest hurdle for young people in buying a home is the deposit. Well, young people, we have you in mind. The next PNP government will establish a special Young Owners Deposit Fund of $1 billion within the NHT. Using those NHT resources to enable young persons under 35 years of age to access $500,000 towards their deposit once they have been an NHT contributor for 2 years or more. They will be able to apply to the NHT and get their $500,000 deposit grant. Time come for young Jamaicans to own a home. And Mr. Speaker, we have to do something for the low-income borrowers from the fund, from the National Housing Trust. The cost of home insurance continues to increase. Last year alone, insurance for homes increased by 25%. And this is passed on to NHT borrowers as it's wrapped up in their monthly loan payments. So when you pay a loan, you pay for the principal, you pay for the accrued interest, and you pay for the insurance in the payment that you make. This is particularly hard on NHT borrowers at the lowest band who earn $30,000 or less per month. They also need a break. Mr. Speaker, the next PNP government will help these low-income NHT borrowers by absorbing the cost of the insurance on their homes. This means that their monthly payments will be lower and they will be able to afford a bigger mortgage loan. We are looking out for the low-income NHT borrowers. Mr. Speaker, many people earn their living in the informal sector in Jamaica, and they are not able to produce a payslip to establish their income. Many other people have formal employment, but they end up paying rent because they cannot afford to save for the deposit to pay down on a house. We will roll out the NHT rent-to-own plan to address these two situations. Firstly, Mr. Speaker, a person earning in the informal economy who can't produce a payslip, but who wants to buy an NHT house, will be able to go into possession as a tenant, paying a monthly rent equivalent to a mortgage loan payment. That's right. And by establishing their ability to pay over a relatively short period of time, they will then be deemed eligible to access the mortgage loan from the NHT to buy the house. Having established proof of payment, they don't need to produce a payslip. Mr. Speaker, the other person who can't save enough for the deposit to buy a house will be able to rent an NHT house under the rent-to-own program, and a specified portion of the rent payments, and we're considering from 50 to 75%, will be accredited to the deposit